I've been using a base model iPhone instead of a Pro model for the last 5 years, over 5 years, almost 6 years actually. The last time I had a Pro iPhone that I ran with for the whole cycle of that generation was the iPhone 11 Pro. I unapologetically wanted that phone. I liked the green color. It was the first to have a 3 camera array system. Everything about that phone it spoke to me. And after that, we had the mini series come out with the 12s, and I loved having an iPhone 5S, a 4. I love smaller form factors, and the 12 mini was the reincarnation of a squared off design that we still see to this day in a smaller form factor. Everything about that, I love that. And then the 13 mini only amplified all the good things and fixing some of the bad things with the 12 mini, mainly battery life with the performance. And the iPhone 13 Pro, back that came out in 2021, I did have that phone for a couple months, the 13 Pro Max, because green and all these other artificial reasons. But there was no difference in performance of what I want from features between a 13 Pro Max and a 13 mini. The two extremes of pricing, sizes, and everything, especially weight, it all felt, all those differences did not change how I used the phone. And it was the 13 series that made me realize I don't need a Pro iPhone. In fact, it was because I was running with the 13 Pro Max and how heavy and cumbersome it was, I was not having a good experience with it. And I went so heavy on one side, I teeter-tottered and went heavy on the other and went to 13 mini. And I've since then found my balance and stuck with base iPhones ever since. And I liked that for a very, very long time. I love the colors. I love how fun they get. They do virtually everything I needed to do for a smartphone. And then life starts to happen. Things started changing. And the reason why I am now going to be moving towards a Pro going forward has to do with life changes for me and what I now want from a phone. Now, in the past, talking about all that history right there with the context was to say that for me, just having me more than enough, I was okay with everything that I had. Now I find using my phone different. I have different purposes, mainly because I like to document and capture these moments with my family. I'm a father. I've had a growing family since then. So I care more about making memories and documenting those memories than I do just having a comfortable phone. And one of the issues I had with the Pros is being fixed. I appreciate the build quality and how it feels and everything when it came to stainless steel and then titanium. But aluminum is the better material. It fixes heat dissipation better. It fixes weight. All these things are getting rectified in some way, shape, or form in the Pro models now, because now they're not as heavy, and now they're going to not only just be lighter, but better with heat management. And I think they're going to get thinner. I know we're getting the Air, but I'm not interested in the Air. But in the future, I think the 17 Air is going to lay the foundation for thinner phones. And then if they're thinner and they're lighter, I don't care if it's a bigger screen or not. The issue I had was how heavy it was, how uncomfortable. It'd fall out of my pocket when I would sit down if I'm wearing shorts. And I'm like, this is not a good look for me. But all that and more has been getting fixed. So if it addresses the issues that I cared about initially, I also care about having the best on-the-go camera as possible. Now, all these chips do the same thing. They have the same post-processing with computational photography. So in that sense, point and shoots, they're fine. But limitations when it comes to a 2-camera array are apparent when it comes to zooms. And I live in a very picturesque state. I love this state. And sometimes when I'm trying to get that right shot in framing, a 2x zoom isn't enough. And then zooming even further isn't enough. So if I had more cameras at my disposal, it fixes one of the issues. It fixes maybe the biggest issue because I can do more photography or videography. I like to film things obviously on my Sony for this, but I also film a lot of stuff on my phone. And I like the idea of having those tools accessible to me. I also realized with having an iPad Pro again and using my MacBook Pro, I do appreciate having ProMotion when it becomes more noticeable when I go straight to my phone and then we're back at this 60 hertz frame. And it's heavily rumored that all the phones are gonna have 120 hertz now. So in that sense, it doesn't matter. But you know what does matter? Having 48 megapixels, no matter what camera you're using, telephoto, ultra wide, main sensor. And I know they're all going to get the front facing 24 megapixel upgrade to it as well, but I like using the main sensor the most. But having a better telephoto will ultimately give me better zooming capabilities for everything that I like to use. I like to take these photos. Maybe the Pro iPhones will have some vapor chamber cooling system. I don't know. I don't care. But I do care about having the best phone on me because I care about having the best camera. I care about having the best battery. I care about having the best performance. And out of everything I have right now, iOS has been buggy, so performance doesn't really matter. But out of all the stuff that I care about the most, battery and camera are the most important ones. And unfortunately, the battery is dying in this thing quicker. It's not an issue because I have chargers everywhere, but it is annoying when I'm out and about because I'm not always home. There's always a trade-off that came with different phones. Do you want the best battery? You got to deal with weight. And all these things that I couldn't decide between cheaper, smaller, bigger, heavier, better. I feel like we're finally getting to this point where there's going to be convergence and we're fixing many of those this or that's. And that's a good thing for consumers. And here's the thing. I really like this phone. I might keep it. I didn't pay anything for this phone. I made a video about that if you're interested in seeing it, but I didn't pay anything for this. So I'm not losing anything by holding on to this phone. And I do have a way to potentially get my next iPhone completely free as well, but I will go over that when we get closer because I don't know if I'm going to pull the trigger on that. So for what it looks like, I don't think I'm going to be paying any money doing one or the other with the phones. And I like having this phone, if not for anything else, just to have another camera around the studio, and I can repurpose this to do more camera stuff, which is phenomenal. All the cameras, smartphone cameras, are doing great. But look, at the end of the day, phones have become more cameras than anything else. And I'm seeing in my own life certain limitations when it comes to photography and videography that I'm hitting these bumps, as well as battery issues now. So this is where my headspace is at. This is why I think I'm going to be pivoting my strategy. For all I know, I could be wrong. Maybe Apple wows me somehow. They'll show the 17 and they'll introduce something I didn't even think about. And if that's the case, then maybe I'll revisit this conversation. But I doubt it. And what will be. At the end of the day, I'm trying to make smart decisions financially. And much like not paying for this phone, I do have a way of getting another phone this year completely free, not paying nothing. So maybe I'll go about that way. I don't know. The last time I ever paid for a phone was the iPhone 15. And I kind of like this idea of not being able to pay for nothing. So, if it makes for good content, maybe I can, weigh something from a base 16 and a Pro 17 and show the differences or maybe even the similarities long term. And maybe this might become the reigning champion still because this was built for Apple Intelligence from the ground up. So this is supposed to have that headspace, right? I don't know. But these are my thoughts in lifetime. Am I crazy? I'm probably crazy. Are you crazy? Are you getting the Pro? You're probably going to get the Pro. A lot of people I know get the Pros. So if anything, I'm just joining mainstream at this point. Look at me. I'm not a contrarian anymore. I sold out. Oh well.